here and talk about how you can utilize your masculine and feminine energy to make your dreams come true, right? Like, how can you utilize that energy to manifest your dreams, to manifest the life that you want to live? Because I know there are a lot of talks about masculine and feminine and the different roles and how women should be and how men should be and all these other things. But once we all understand that the masculine and the feminine resides in all of us, because it takes a masculine and a feminine to create us. Okay. Okay. Wants to know if the masculine and the feminine to create us. That means we have both energies and both counterparts inside of us, right? So, but I believe what we have to tap into collectively, we have to tap into how that works for us, right? Like how that plays out for us. And hold on a second, y'all. Hold on just a minute. Let me. Okay, how that plays out for your livelihood, or how that plays out in your life, right? And because they have a lot of men or masculine energy presenting people who believe that the masculine is, the better counterpart. Then we have a lot of feminine energy who believes that the feminine is the better counterpart. But if you don't know how to intertwine, and if you don't know how to utilize both those energies to your greatest good, like, you will always be off balance. It won't never get to that. You will never be in a stable state. It will always be chaos or corruption where you are in your life. And I wanted to tap into that. And I wanted to talk about how the feminine energy and the masculine energy combined into one can assist you doing this thing called life, right? Okay, so with the masculine energy, we all know what makes up the masculine energy, right? Masculine energy is logical, masculine energy is assertive, masculine energy takes control, masculine energy is a force, is a drive, right? Masculine energy is a sense of protection. Masculine energy has the ability to build and to provide, okay? But if that is the only thing that you're focusing on, like as a masculine presenting person, or as a male, you are missing the other side of your being, right? Like, you are missing the other side of your counterpart. So you have to learn how to interpret. You have to learn how to incorporate the feminine aspect to yourself, and the feminine aspect to the feminine energy. How the feminine energy displays itself in a masculine counterpart is the nurturing, is the caring, is the giving, is the creativity. So even though you are a male and you are a masculine, or you are a masculine presenting, you are still in a nurturing state. Like, you still have the ability to nurture your family, right? You still have the ability to nurture your loved ones, to nurture your woman, to cater times when your woman is tired, times when she had a long day, or you want to do a little something extra. That's when you pull out them flowers. That's when you pull out the extra date. That's when do a little bit things that's more romantic, because when you tap into your romantic sense of yourself as a masculine, you are tapping into your feminine energy. Okay, because feminine energy is all about giving. Really, like feminine energy is all about giving. Because if you give a woman in her positive feminine energy, she's going to make things happen, right? Like she's going to multiply what you give her. Like you give her your seed, she's going to give you a baby. Like you give her food, you give her, food, she's going to make you a meal. Like in a woman in her sacred feminine energy is going to multiply and give out. So when a male is displaying his feminine energy, that is exactly what he's doing. He is giving out. He is making sure that, the people that's around him in his circle are being nurtured in that way. Okay. So when you talk about the feminine energy, when a woman is in her femininity and like her true state of femininity, right? That woman gives out, right? That woman is a nurturer. That woman is a helper. That woman is a confidant. That woman is a lover. Like you can depend on this woman to be your comfort zone, right? This woman has a lot of creativity because she has the ability to birth things, right? So by her being able to birth things, she have a lot of creative ideas. That's why when you go into certain people homes or certain people houses, like you can tell if a man stay there or the woman stay there because the woman always looking for new things to grab to and put in the house because this is going to look nice. That's a form of creativity. And even in nature, back in when women didn't have the ability to go to stores and shit like that, right? That's why women always shop. Women always shop because it is in a woman's nature to be a forager, like natural. Like excuse me, y'all. It is in a woman's nature to be a forager naturally. So it is in a woman's nature to go out into the forest, like how men will go out to hunt for the food and for the wood and all this stuff, right? Like women will go out to the forest and see what herbs she can use to assist and help her family when they get sick. Or, what type of rocks or feathers or whatever she finds, leaves that can assist them in their household. So when you have a woman and she's going shopping all the time, it's not necessarily she just got to spend all your money, but naturally in her innate state, a woman will always forage for a home, right? So when you encounter a woman in her feminine energy like that, a woman in her that incorporates her masculine energy will look a little bit different than that nurturing woman, right? And usually you will find the women who are residing in their masculine energy or have used their masculine energy to help them in their life, to help them in their dreams. Those women are, you could say, self-sufficient, right? Like those women pursue their goals. Those women are assertive. Those women are confident. Those women are courageous. Those women are, you know, bosses because they done utilize their feminine energy. They tapped into their creativity to see what they wanted out of life. And they had the assertiveness, which is the masculine energy, to help them pursue their dreams. Now, when the woman gets distorted, is when she feels like the masculine energy is the only energy that she should be relying on, right? Like that's the only energy she should be relying on. She's coming from a logical sense of herself. She's not coming from a heart space. She's not nurturing. She's not caring. That's when a woman becomes distorted. But a lot of women stay in that masculine energy, and I don't think people understand because when women are in that masculine energy, it makes a woman less vulnerable. Like it makes her not be someone's prey. Like it makes her not be someone's victim. Because what happens is When a woman is just functioning on her femininity and functioning on her feminine energy, and she doesn't have a masculine energy and a masculine source to actually be there by her side, behind her, and I mean, not behind her, in her life that will protect her how a masculine should protect a feminine, that woman will then turn into that masculine energy that she needs for protection. Because, like I said, a woman in her genuine state, a woman in her femininity, a woman in her natural instinct is a giver. She gives. She gives. She nurtures. That's why you always see women who who seem like they always sacrifice, like they just sacrifice like every ounce of themselves, like they just sacrifice, and they just so torn, and they can't get things together, and that's because they are distorted. They haven't tapped into that masculine energy of themselves, because they done became so feminine and so tapped into their feminine energy. They don't have any protection there, right? Especially if it's from a masculine who sees this woman in her feminine state and in her natural state of being. And then that natural state of being will allow that masculine who's distorted to just take from that feminine energy. So, what people have to understand is you have to incorporate both. You got to incorporate both. It has to be a balance. It has to be a balance, because without the balance, there will be a distortion. And how things are going right now, I will wish and I will hope and I will pray that people can start doing that with their lives and the people that they love and the things that they encounter, because if you don't do that, it will always be the disruption. That's why it's literally like this battle of the sexes to me right now, because I mean, I can look on each scale, I can look on each side and see, okay, yeah, you right about that, or the male side, or you right about that, woman side, you right about that. But if no one actually comes together and say, okay, we have all these strengths within ourselves, what would happen if we put those strengths together? Like, what's going to happen when we actually know how to balance those strengths out? Like, what's going to happen when we actually learn how to incorporate both entities within ourselves so we can be a greater being? And people have to understand, even when it comes to, even when you talk about God, on a God sense, there have been stories about people people assuming that God was more in his feminine energy, right? But when you think about the creator, who is God, who created everything, and God is a giver, God, if God is a man, God had to be connected to that feminine energy in order to give us abundance, in order to give us abundance and give us the feminine part and give us that feminine energy and be able to love unselfishly. That is a feminine trait. So people have to look at it from that stance, because males are hunters. What you do, you hunt. You hunt, you look for prey, you look for things that you need. You look for things that you just going to help you to survive. You're going to look for, you're looking for, to protect your family. You're looking for danger because you're going to defeat it. You are the hunter. Well, women aren't made like that. But when it comes to men just focusing on that, that distorts them. It's like, okay, yeah, you the protector. Yeah, you the provider. But what kind of love are you pouring out to your family? Like, how does your how are you connecting into your heart space? Because that's where the feminine energy resides. Like, how are you connecting to your heart space? How are you connecting to the other entity of you? Because for men, because there are a lot of men who think like this, for a man to disregard the feminine counterpart and believe that the world is the world revolves around men, that totally disregards the woman counterpart, that totally disregards your mother. How can you how can you disregard a being, a specimen? How can you disregard a human being that housed you, to give you and protected you, to give you and gave you the space and sacrificed her body in order to provide you the room and the coverage to become a human being that's able to live upon this realm? You wouldn't be able to do that without a woman. It's just you wouldn't be able to do that. It and for even on that strength, even on that aspect of it, if you can't look at a woman counterpart and say, well, damn, I came here as a spirit, but I entered into, I came through her womb cosmically, and then in her womb, I was able to, she kept me safe. I was able to grow and to grow the bones that I needed to hold up my muscles because of my skeleton, and my veins were created in her. Our blood, my blood is running from hers. Like, I mean, when you get deep in it like that, it, it makes absolutely no sense for the distorted masculine to look at women like, oh yeah, you're a piece of nothing. Because even if you have a woman, and if you have a wife, your wife is going to experience the same thing when it comes to childbirth, the way that your mother experienced the same thing when it comes to childbirth. So she has to be important in that sense too, because now she is duplicating what the fuck you done gave her. She duplicating it. She copying it. You gave her information, okay. She is going to copy that information and give you something to say, hey, okay, but this is me and you, which is usually a child. Like, how is that unimportant? Like, how is that unimportant? So when you tap into yourself, when you tap into your being, that's why. And when you see a lot of men who, because there are a lot of men who have intertwined that energy, right? They know how to put down that masculine energy, and they know how to tune into that feminine energy. And usually those men will have women react to them differently. Like, the woman counterpart will feel safe around those men because there isn't anything distorting the frequency or the energy that they feel around those particular men. And men who don't understand that will call those men, quote unquote, simps. Okay? Now, there are men who need to step up that masculine energy because they too far in they feminine energy. And this has nothing to do with sexuality. This is just them on the day to day. Like, they just too stuck in their emotions. They're not assertive. They're not, they can't get anything started. They just, in this loop of just having all these ideas, but they don't have the endurance and the masculine energy to push it forward. That's what I'm talking about with that. But when the guy is exuding in both, those females and the woman counterpart would treat that man totally different. Treat that man totally different what they would treat a man who is distorted in his masculine energy. They were treating totally different because now it's not the point that I'm treating you different because you know, I'm just trying to use you. The feminine energy that that man has tapped into, that he's utilizing in the correct way, the woman who is in her feminine energy recognizes that. She feels safe in that space with that particular man. So she's able to tune in to that man because of his feminine aspects, because she feels safe there. She doesn't feel threatened there. She knows that even though this is a man and he's assertive and he's a protector, he's a provider, he's the leader, but he is still in touch into he is still in tune with his heart space to a point where she can feel safe in that masculine energy. It's a big difference when it comes to that. And by it being a shift in the atmosphere and the shift in the world and the shift in the energy, I believe that people became more focused on using those energies for the greater good of themselves. All this stuff that we hearing about battle of the sexes and who's better than what, and this and that and yada yada yada. What, I'm better than you and you bow down to me and you. If we all will come together, because it took both of us to come together here, we wouldn't have these issues at all. Like, I know for sure, and I know for fact, we will not have these issues at all. So I just want to tap into that because I received a download after doing a reading about feminine and masculine energy and how they can play a part in your life beyond, you know, you seeing a woman and she looks feminine, or you seeing a man and he looks masculine. There are a lot of counterparts to that particular energy. And if you don't know how to utilize that energy, you can be left out, or if you know how to utilize both, you can be on your game. You can be on top of your game. So I just want to touch on that, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye.